Welcome students. In this unit 1, Rousseau, we are going to focus on the theory of popular sovereignty of Rousseau. The outline of this module is the meaning of popular sovereignty and theory of popular sovereignty. At the end of the module, the students will be able to describe the meaning and explain the theory of popular sovereignty of Rousseau. Now let us have a look at the meaning of popular sovereignty. Supreme power which lies in the hands of the people is popular sovereignty. Popular sovereignty is grounded in the concept that ultimate power lies in the people in their aggregate capacity. The principle of popular sovereignty emerged and took shape in the 16th and 17th centuries. The theory was put forward by anti-monarchical writers as a counter-attack to the despotic power claimed by monarch. Rousseau's theory of popular sovereignty is individualistic, since he regarded social contract as the contract among individuals. According to Rousseau, sovereign is, by its nature, only a corporate entity, that it has only an abstract and collective existence, and that the idea which is attached to this word cannot be united to that of a single individual. Rousseau's concept of popular sovereignty can be deduced from the following statement. He says, each of us places his person and all his power in common under the supreme direction of the general will. And as one, we receive each member as an indivisible part of the whole. The public person, formed thus by union of all others, formerly took the name of city and at present takes the name republic or body politic, which is called state by its members when it is passive, sovereign when it is active, power when it is compared to others like itself. In fact, Rousseau sets social contract as the basis of popular sovereignty. Since no man has a natural authority over his fellow men, and since force does not give rise to any right, conventions therefore remain the basis of all legitimate authority among men. Rousseau believed that the people were the repository of all the powers in the state, and the government was merely a servant who carried out the will of the state. While formalizing the contract, Rousseau vests the sovereignty not in any single person or group of individuals, but in the community as a whole through the medium of the general will. Rousseau says, whoever refuses to obey the general will shall be compelled to do so by the whole body. Thus, he vests the general will with absolute power. With a view to impart popular character to the sovereign, he asserts that the general will is always right and tends always to the public advantage. As the general will operates for the general welfare, the people are morally committed to carry out its verdict. On legal grounds also, the people are expected to render full obedience to the general will, because at the time of the contract, they surrendered all their rights to general will without any condition. Thus, people had to hand over their natural rights to themselves while entering into the social contract. In Rousseau's social contract, a man does not surrender completely to a sovereign ruler, but each man gives himself to all and therefore gives himself to nobody in particular. People do not submit themselves to someone else. They submit themselves to themselves. Rousseau's insistence on the mere social contract is a crucial indicator of the existence of popular sovereignty in his theory. Now let us have a look at the elements of popular sovereignty of Rousseau. First one, Popular sovereignty is inalienable. According to Rousseau, sovereignty, being merely the exercise of general will, can never be alienated, and that sovereignty, since it is only a collective being, can be represented only by itself. It means that sovereignty rests with the people and no other actor in the state can be sovereign. Popular sovereignty cannot be represented. This is the second element of popular sovereignty. According to Rousseau, sovereignty cannot be represented for the same reason that it cannot be alienated. It consists essentially of the general will, and the will does not allow of being represented. It is either itself or something else. There is nothing in between. Thus, government is the commissioner of the sovereign people. If the government in any way try to encroach on the right of the sovereign or try to become sovereign itself, it would break the social contract and everybody would return to the state of nature. According to Rousseau, power can perfectly be transmitted, but not the will. Thus, only one form of state is possible where the people possess ultimate sovereignty. According to Rousseau, Rousseau's sovereign is considered to be ultimate. He is the legislative assembly of all citizens, constituted to give expression to the general will. The citizens must meet in legislative assembly periodically, and they must be able to assemble during crises or emergencies. The more powerful the government, the more frequently the general will must meet, according to Rousseau. He argues the sole object of the legislative assembly is the maintenance of the social treaty. Rousseau insists that the existence of government in no way violates the basic principle of sovereignty, that the general will is inalienable. In political terms, the legislative function of the whole community cannot be transmitted to any other body. The exercise of power, in other words, properly belongs to the government. The government will act as an agent of the general will rather than as its master, according to Rousseau. In the following words, Rousseau reiterates what is the crux of popular sovereignty's relationship to the government. He who frames the laws, therefore, does not or should not have any legislative right, and the populace itself cannot, even if it wanted to, deprive itself of this incommunicable right, because according to the fundamental compact, only the general will obligates private individuals. People have all right to dissolve the government and to resume all its functions and prerogatives. According to Rousseau, once the populace is legitimately assembled as a sovereign body, all jurisdiction of the government ceases. The executive power is suspended, and the person of the humblest citizen is as sacred and inviolable as that of the first magistrate. Thus, from the above properties, it can be concluded that Rousseau believed that the sovereignty in the state rests with the people. These are the references, students. Thank you.